Live. Good morning, KOD Nation. What is good? Yankees universe, stand up. This is your guy, Project Nerd HQ, with another episode of Yankees Morning Brew this Friday at 11 a.m. Welcome. And you degenerates, wake up and smell the coffee. How we doing? There's a lot to get into right now from yesterday. There's a lot to get into, but we're going to start off with some of the good and the ugly. It's just more ugly than anything else, But before we get into the game, before we get into the players, the breakdowns, the highlights, or anything, it's one thing I want to talk about first. And that is Major League Baseball and their umpires. Now, I know hindsight is 2020. I know you're just able to just, do whatever you want to do when it comes to the umpires. I don't want to just blame the umpires for the loss. We can't just blame the umpires for the loss because that's an easy thing to do. You got to be able to win the games that you're supposed to win. But yesterday with the umpires was some of the worst officiating I've seen this season. Balls that are low. We already know that Aaron Judge gets picked on a lot by the umpires when it comes to that low pitch. But there was a sequence early in the game, I want to say the second, third inning, where there was a low pitch that was called against Judge for a strike. Strike three, he was out. Judge didn't like that. And if you looked at it, it may have crossed the bottom half of the plate, but those are one of those calls that you just got to throw your heads up with, especially if you're Aaron Judge, if you're getting that all year. But literally the next half inning, Jordan Montgomery, 2 outs, mind you. He had the batter, 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the same exact pitch, literally the same exact pitch that was called a strike against Aaron Judge was called the ball. And you could tell the Yankees were upset. Camera panned right over to the Yankees dugout. You seen Judge was upset. You seen Booney was upset. And literally the next pitch right after that, boom, RBI single, RBI double. Later on in the game, Anthony Rizzo gets tossed because of an issue. Smoke a lot of Potamus. What is good, my guy? Love the name. Smoke a lot of Potamus, my guy. Hope you're having a beautiful Friday. Salute to you, my guy. Hope the family's doing well. And let's enjoy this Friday afternoon as we get ready for maybe, a Friday night. Never know if you're going out, if you got to work, function later on today. Hopefully this could start you up good. That's right. But yeah, when it comes to the Major League umpires this season, you've seen it. And then if you listen to the post-game interviews, post-game conference, however you want to put it, and if you hear Anthony Rizzo, and he asked the umpire, was it because, am I being thrown out because I'm objecting to the balls and strike, and it's because I have an iPad in the dugout? And apparently Anthony Rizzo was told yes. Because, you got to have to understand this. These players, they have all these tools, which they should have. Everything that, can make you better, you should be able to get your hands on it. In 2022, with this type of technology, go ahead. Make sure every player has an iPad so they can see in live action their previous at bat. Or if a pitcher is coming out of the top half of the inning or the bottom half of the inning, going to the dugout to let his team hit, the pitcher should be able to get an iPad to have live action of what he just did on the mound that half inning. So I have no issue with the players using technology to their advantage, using technology to get the best out of them. I have no issue whatsoever. But apparently the MLB umpires do. because they don't want. You got to understand this. It's an ego thing at the end of the day. You know, it's a hall monitor ego thing. Umpires never want to be told that they're wrong. You know, there's maybe a handful of umpires throughout baseball that I've seen throughout the many years that admitted they were wrong after the event, but never during the heat of the moment. During the heat of the moment, apparently you're supposed to just keep your mouth shut and not complain. And whatever they say is the law of the land. And it can't be like that. Players should be able to voice their frustration. Managers should be able to voice their frustration. Now, is there a line that you don't cross? Absolutely. I'm not advocating for MLB umpires to be beat up. No, not at all. Facts, Keith. Hall monitors. We all know what the quote unquote hall monitor word means, but they're a bunch of hall monitors. You seen it yesterday, and it was a big part of the game, especially early half. Jordan Montgomery literally had a batter, 2 outs, 1-2 was the count. Next pitch was a ball, but it was literally the same pitch that was called a strike against Aaron Judge the previous half inning. And what happened right after that? There was a runner on first. That batter was able to get a double. The next pitch, a runner came in. Monty gave up a run. Then the flood rug started opening up early parts. Now, it's not completely the umpire's fault. No, absolutely not. I'm not trying to say that the umpires are the sole reason we lost the game yesterday. No. If I'm saying that, I'm a fool. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I am saying is the umpires, when you have those little tidbits that they could actually change the flow of the game, change the energy of the game, it happens. And it sticks out like a big sore thumb when it happens. It's not like it's something that you could just brush under the rug. No, it sticks out like a sore thumb when it happens. Now when you look at the rest of the game, in that same inning that I'm talking about, my guy Aaron Hicksy, what's going on, bro? Honestly, I do not know what's wrong with Aaron Hicks. I think this is time that the Yankees, you need to look for another option in center field, because as the days go on, one thing I could say is that winning cures all illnesses. Winning covers every mistake that happens with a team. Yesterday, when we lost, the big reason why we lost was Aaron Hicks' hustle. And that right there, as much as the umpires stuck out like a sore thumb, what Aaron Hicks did yesterday in yesterday's game was even worse. In that same inning, when it was a double, when it was a flyout, I apologize. Not that same inning. In that same inning, there was a single to center field from the former Yankee, Jorge Mateo. What happened was Hicks was super lazy on it. Literally landed right in front of him. Now, I can understand. I put this on Twitter yesterday. People who follow me, Project Nerd HQ, Yankees Morning Brew on Twitter, follow both accounts. But I put it out on Twitter yesterday. Like, I could understand if Aaron Hicks is nursing a hamstring problem. I get that. I can understand if Aaron Hicks is nursing a foot issue. I get that. But in 2022, I'm going to need my center fielder to lay out and make a play. I'm not saying every game. I'm not saying one game here, one game there. Whenever it calls for it, Aaron Hicks, and you're able to do it, lay out and make a catch. Let's see, my guy, Coach Richie. Salute, Coach Richie. Hope you got your coffee this morning. He said, it's early, but where else would I be? Exactly, Coach Richie. You got to be a part of the kingdom. Got to be a part of this Yankees Morning Brew. Smoke a lot of Potamus says, what's up, Coach? Was on the night shift last night with Coach Richie and Jiggerman. Had an awesome time. Let's go Detroit Tigers. There you go. There you go, Richie. There you go, Coach. When it comes to Aaron Hicks, though, literally the next half inning, and I understand people say, oh, Aaron Hicks, he gets on base. Aaron Hicks's big thing is that he draws the walks. Well, yesterday's game, I said the Tigers, Richie. I said the Tigers. Yesterday's game was the worst because what you saw was, hold on one second. What you saw yesterday and several at bats when it comes to Hicks, the count was 2-2. Aaron Hicks was at bat. It was a pitch that was well out the strike zone. It was basically in the left-hander's batter's box. Aaron Hicks swung for it. He rolled it over to the third base shortstop area. Now the announcers were like, "Oh, you could beat this out. You could beat this out. You could beat this out. You could beat this out," and he didn't. And when you see the replay, Aaron Hicks doesn't have that giddy up. He doesn't have that extra speed. Like I said, if he's nursing a hamstring issue, if he's nursing a foot issue, if he's nursing some type of injury that he had, that's understandable. Let us know. But if that's the issue, you need to be on the bench because you're not bringing any value when you're in the field or when you're in the batter's box. Because later on in the same game, you had a situation when Aaron Hicks came up to bat, bases loaded with only one out. And what happened? He struck out. How you doing? How you doing, Jigga man? Hope all is well. Hope all is well, my man. But yeah, bases loaded, one out. Aaron Hicks had the count full. It was 3-2. He fought off pitches. I'm giving it to him. He had a 10 pitch at bat, but on the 11th pitch, it was well outside the strike zone as well. He was batting from the left-hand side this time, but it was a pitch that was in the right-hand batter's box that he swung at, and he missed. Hicks, like I said yesterday, I don't want to seem like I'm just picking on Aaron Hicks or I'm just, trying to single out Aaron Hicks because that's not the case whatsoever. When you look back at Aaron Hicks's numbers, I'm going to pull them up real quick. 2017 and 2018 was the best numbers that he had in his career, both with the Yankees. Let me put it up right now. Those were and then after 2017 or after 2018, I think it was 2017. That's when that's when Aaron Boone gave Hicks that contract extension. But in 2017, I know it was only 88 games, but in 88 games, Aaron Hicks, he bat 266. He was able to draw 51 walks. The strikeout numbers was down. He only had 67 strikeouts that year, 15 home runs, 52 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. With 5 of them, he was caught. So he was 50-50 from stealing bases that year in 2017. But now in 2018, into a full season, almost full season, Aaron Hicks at the age of 28, mind you, because he's 32 right now. But at 28, in 137 games and 581 plate appearances, Aaron Hicks was able to get 119 hits, 18 doubles, 3 triples, 27 home runs, and 79 RBIs. This year, in 2018, he was a lot better when it comes to stealing bases. He was 11 for 13. He was only caught twice. So that's good numbers. As well, he almost drew 100 walks. He got 90 walks that year, but he struck out 111 times, over 100 times. And that right there is not a good look. His batting average was 248 for that season. On base percentage is 366. But the last 3 years, last year, on base percentage was 294. The year before, 379. The year before that, 325. So Aaron Hicks is on a decline, and it's a real bad decline. My guy Foxy, hope all is well on this happy, beautiful Friday, Uncle Fox, my guy, pots and pans. As the days go by, my energy resurfaces, and I feel a lot better with the Knicks in their 11th pick in this year's NBA draft, Uncle Foxy. But Aaron Hicks yesterday stuck out like a sore thumb, striking out with the bases loaded, lazy play in center field. There was a tag-up situation that the Baltimore Orioles got to sacrifice flying in a run. Aaron Hicks was super lazy on it. on the relay, bringing it back, sending it back into the infield that allowed the runner to go from first to second. And mind you, Nevins is not a speedy runner whatsoever, but he was able to stretch from single to first. I mean, from first to second on the sac fly. That if Aaron Hicks gave some effort, would have threw the guy out. And what happens on the next pitch? A single up the middle, and the runner scores. You can't make it up. If you give a major league team, doesn't matter what team it is, whether it's the Orioles, whether it's the Tigers, I'm sorry, Coach Richie, whether it's the Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds, if you give a major league team extra at bats, extra opportunities, baseball is a game of numbers. And it may not be 9 times out of 10 that team's going to come in. And maybe 50-50. But you never want to be on that side that it actually happens. See, my guy Keith says, trade Hicks to whoever will take him for whatever. I don't know. With the value that Aaron Hicks has right now, Keith, I don't even think you'll be able to get a Popeyes meal for Aaron Hicks, or let alone a Kennedy's Fried Chicken, 2 center breast box with French fries and 2 rolls. I don't even think you could get that for Aaron Hicks by the way he's going right now. Foxy says Hicks has sucked for several years. From Bernie Williams to Aaron Hicks is man, you right, bro. You right. The Yankees, hey, my guy Jamie, what's good? Jamie, if you watch it on Instagram Live, and everybody who's watching on Instagram Live, click that link in the bio and switch over to YouTube or switch over to Twitch and join the conversation. You can't even get a chopped cheese from Najee for Aaron Hicks right now, Keith. That's how bad he's doing. But yeah, with what we're seeing from him, and then we not just want to beat up on our guys. We don't just want to beat up on our guys. And like I said, winning covers and cures a lot of the bad stuff that goes on with your team. The Yankees won their 9th series. Our winning has covered up the fact that Anthony Rizzo has been struggling these past few weeks. Our winning has covered up the fact that Joey Gallo is a strikeout machine at the plate. If the Yankees were close to 500 or second place in the division, these criticisms for Hicks, these criticisms for Gallo, these criticisms for Higashioka would be a lot louder. These criticisms for Aroldis Chapman would be a lot louder than what they are right now. So I'm going to just leave Aaron Hicks right there. I'll get into the Juan Soto situation in a little bit before I break down the game. But one thing I want to bring up is we had an injury yesterday, and this is something we don't want to see. But Chad Green has been a solid Yankee for the past several years. Chad Green has been a reliable Yankee for the past several years. It's more, his ability as a pitcher these past 2 seasons may have been questioned just because he's given up a lot more home run balls last year and the year prior. This year is a lot better. Not going to lie. It is a lot better. Has he been shaky? Yes. There's been a few outings that he's been shaky. Let's see, Keith. I don't mind Rizzo slumps. His glove makes up for it. Absolutely. And you saw it yesterday. Keith. After Anthony Rizzo was thrown out of that game, there was literally a play that the first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, 10 times out of 10 would have made, but he didn't get the opportunity to make it. Baltimore Orioles got an extra runner, got an extra out, and that's what happens. Like I just said previously, if you give an MLB team, no matter what they are, it's still a professional Major League Baseball team. You got professional hitters. You give them extra outs. You give them extra opportunities. You give them extra base runners. 9 times out of 10, 50-50 opportunities, you may pay for it. And that's what you want to try to avoid. So when you have the bases loaded with Giancarlo Stanton in the top of the 9th, that was a liner he hit. 100 miles an hour pitch, came off the bat at 115 miles an hour. Hit right to the center fielder. If you would have asked Giancarlo Stanton, 9 times out of 10, he is pulling that pitch for a home run, a grand slam. Speaking of home runs from Giancarlo Stanton made history with this new dimension and this new thing that they did at Camden Yards with the Orioles. Giancarlo Stanton was the first visiting hitter in Camden Yards to get a homer. Coach Richie, be safe, my guy. Hope all is well. Enjoy your weekend with the fams, baby. But yeah, was able to get the first home run from a visiting player in the new Camden Yards dimensions. Speaking with Trey Mancini after the game, apparently Trey Mancini and a lot of the other Baltimore Orioles do not like these new dimensions. Apparently the Orioles, their thinking behind it was, oh, if we have better dimensions, we'll be able to attract better pitchers in free agency. That's all fine and dandy. But what hitters are you going to track? What right-handed power hitters are going to want to play in Camden Yards if that's the new dimensions of Camden Yards? I'm not sure how long this will last, but we're just going to have to see. But yeah, Chad Green left the game yesterday with an injury. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, and he literally had to walk off the mound. He called the Yankees trainer, and he said, "I'm done." And now this is literally 2 days in a row. Once, it happened with the Mets. Second, it happened with Luis Hill. And third, it happened with our guy, Chad Green. He's like, the O's are so bad, they improved their ballpark before their roster. Yeah. And, their bullpen looks solid. Yesterday, they sent out 5 different relievers against us, and they were able to tame our bats. But, yeah, they got the AC. Right, they were able to buy the industrial AC without checking the window frame if it even fixed. That's what happened. And Keith, you know what I mean. You work the field, so how many people? Hey, DSJ, what's up, my guys? Salute. Everybody watching on Instagram. Super Fantasy Podcast. Thanks for tuning in on IG. Both of y'all, if y'all want, click that link in the bio. Jump over to the YouTube. Jump over to the Twitch. My fault, but Keith, you know that analogy. There's so many industrial buildings that you go to, commercial buildings that you go to, that people would rather buy the AC unit before they make sure that it fits in an actual window frame. That's crazy to me. But back to this Chad Green injury. Now, one thing that the Yankees have been blessed with this entire season is that besides the Tim LeCastro injury, this Chad Green injury is the second injury. And I do apologize if you guys hear. We got the sounds of Washington Heights in the background. For some reason, one of my neighbors want to rev up their dirt bike right in front of my window. But hey, that's New York City. What can we do? But yesterday's game, but with the Yankees this entire season, they've been blessed with not having any injuries besides the Tim LeCastro injury and besides this injury right now from Chad Green. Don't know what this means for our bullpen, but depending on what the injury is, and he's going to see the Yankee specialist when it comes to elbows. So, that's always a bad sign at the beginning. But besides whatever the injury is, we just want Chad Green to be healthy. If he has to be out for the rest of the year, be out for the rest of the year. Would I want that? No. Would I want to be down a pitcher? No. But at the same time, my main priority is health. I don't want nobody trying to force their way back and getting another injury that's going to jeopardize their career. Chad Green, take your time. The Yankees do have the rest of that bullpen, and that's what happens. In 162 games, if there's an injury to whether it's your starting pitcher, whether it's your main reliever, whether it's one of your starting players in the infield or the outfield, it's always next man up. So with this injury to Chad Green, let's see who the Yankees call up from the minor leagues and put in that bullpen. Let's see what we have. This could be an early indication that we may see Manny Benuelos get called up to be put in that bullpen. We may get Danny Salazar may get called up and put in that bullpen. We never know. But on to the main topic. I had to be full screen for this one. But on to the main topic with these Yankees. Before I go into the breakdown of yesterday's game, we lost. There's not much to go over. Juan Sotito. We was having a conversation yesterday, and we was comparing prospects with the Yankees and the Blue Jays. But I want to have the conversation now if the Yankees should make the move. One thing the Yankees have over the Blue Jays, over the Padres, and over a lot of these other major league teams, the Yankees have the ability to spend. So if Buster Olney's reports are accurate, that the Washington Nationals and every other front office in Major League Baseball knows and feels that the Nationals have to trade Juan Soto and they have to trade him, two things are going to need to happen. One, it's going to be a boatload of prospects. This is going to be probably the biggest prospect hole, maybe, that there has been when it comes to these type of trades. Secondly, Juan Soto is going to have to agree to a contract extension while the trade's going on. So I'm not making that trade if I'm an MLB team, if I don't secure that contract extension. And I know Juan Soto probably don't want to make that move until he works out that contract extension. So it kind of works in the Yankees' favor from a money aspect. Now, when we look at our prospects, and we talked about this yesterday, Volpe, Dominguez, Peraza, Cabrera, Wisniewski, Austin Wells. When you look at every one of those prospects, minus Jason Dominguez, Juan Soto is just a couple years older than any of those prospects that I just named. Anthony Volpe is 21 years old. Juan Soto is 24. Oswald Cabrera is 22 years old. Juan Soto is 24. Austin Wells is 21 years old. Juan Soto is 24. So if Juan Soto is just a couple years older than these prospects, it's not like we're trading for somebody who's 30 years old. No, we're trading for somebody who's 24 years old and who's going to be in the prime of his career or going into the prime of his career at 26, 27, 28. So if it came down to it, would I trade an Anthony Volpe for Juan Soto? Absolutely. Would I trade an Austin Wells for Juan Soto? Absolutely. Wisniewski? Absolutely. Cabrera? Absolutely. Peraza? Absolutely. Every one of those prospects I'll be willing to trade. Wisniewski? Absolutely. Jason Dominguez is the only one that I'll be iffy when it comes to trading. You can have Volpe. You can have Wells. You can have Peraza, Cabrera. You can have Wisniewski. You can have those prospects. Hell, if you want Gleyber Torres, you can have Gleyber Torres as well. If you want Joey Gallo, just because you need a bat, you can take Joey Gallo off our hands. I don't care. You want Miguel Andujar? You can have Miguel Andujar. You want Florial? Hey, you can have Florial. If I'm the Yankees, I'm trying to get Juan Soto. If you put Juan Soto in that lineup with an Aaron Judge, even if it's for half of a season, if Aaron Judge decides to leave, he decides to leave. We have his replacement when it comes to Juan Soto. But when you look at the history of the Yankees and players that they wanted to get but never could get, the Yankees always want to get that player. The Yankees drafted Garrett Cole out of high school. Garrett Cole refused to sign with the Yankees. He wanted to go to college. Obviously, he wanted to get a higher draft position, more money. Cool. But the Yankees were hard on trying to get Garrett Cole. That's why all these years, all these rumors, all these trade rumors, the Yankees always called Pittsburgh before he went to Houston. The Yankees gave him that $300 million contract to come to New York. Boom, that worked out. Juan Soto, if you guys remember, I brought it up. Juan Soto, the Yankees tried to sign him when he was a 16-year-old. The reason why they couldn't sign him and he went to the Nationals is they didn't have the international signing money to do it. They didn't have enough. The Nationals had more. So what did the Yankees do? They waited a couple of seasons and it was like, all right, cool. We need to get this international draft money up, this international signing money up. So what they did was they made that move with Chase and Shreve to St. Louis for Luke Voigt and international signing money. And it worked out because we got Dominguez. And funny thing about it also, with the Chase and Shreve trade, Juan Soto's first game in the Bronx, he had 2 home runs. One of those home runs to right field was against Chase and Shreve. So baseball has that weirdness to it that any scenario or anything that can happen, it's everything is connected. So the Yankees wanted to sign Juan Soto when he was younger. They didn't have the international money to do it. So they traded Chase and Shreve to get the international money. Juan Soto's first game in the Bronx, he homered against Chase and Shreve. So there's a lot of intangibles that go into it. But let's take a deep dive into this Yankee game. So, pinpoint blank period before we move on. Would I make that move for Juan Soto? Absolutely. Am I trading Anthony Volpe? Yes. Am I trading Oswald Cabrera? Yes. Am I trading Peraza? Yes. Austin Wells? Yes. Wisniewski? Yes. Jose Medina? That's where I start to get hesitant. Jose Medina is going to be a special pitcher in this league, but that's when I start to get hesitant when you ask for Jose Medina, because I've been in love with Jose Medina for some years. Whew. If it makes the deal happen, yes. But we have to do what we can to get Juan Soto in the Bronx. And it seems like these rumors have more facts to them than anything. These rumors seem like they're not just rumors. It's actually maybe happening. So it's going to come down to the Padres, the Blue Jays, or the Yankees. The Mets, could try to get into it. One, I'm not sure if the Mets have the prospects to do it. Two, I'm not sure if Washington wants to trade in division to the Mets. It's easier for Washington to trade with the Padres or the Toronto Blue Jays or the Yankees. We're not in the same division as them. The New York Mets are in the same division as the Washington Nationals. So you got to be a little worried for that. So I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to start off with the Yankees. You got DJ LeMahieu. He let it off yesterday. He played third base, was shifted over to first base, and he had that little bobble in the ninth that's, had the Orioles, gave the Orioles that ability to make that rally. But DJ LeMahieu was 2 for 5. Aaron Judge was 1 for 3. He's keeping it going. Anthony Rizzo, 2 to 4, trying to wake up out of this cold stretch that he was in. He got ejected out of the game. Hopefully tonight against the White Sox, that gives him some energy to have a great game. Giancarlo Stanton, what can you say about Big G? Giancarlo Stanton is having a phenomenal season this year with the New York Yankees. Hopefully, this is something that can carry for the rest of the year. With these numbers that he's putting up, I've since he's been in New York, he's never been in the conversation for All-Star. He's having an All-Star season. If Giancarlo Stanton continues the path that he's continuing on right now, he will be there at the All-Star game. Same with Aaron Judge. But right after Stanton, we had Gleyber Torres, who was 0 for 4 last night. Aaron Hicks, 0 for 4. Gleyber Torres, he came up to bat with bases loaded, nobody out. Gleyber Torres has phenomenal numbers with the bases loaded. He was a 300 hitter, but after yesterday's game, it fell below 300. But Torres struggled yesterday. Aaron Hicks, 0 for 4. 2 big strikeouts, struggled yesterday. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, IKF, was 2 for 3. Once Aaron Hicks, struck out with the bases loaded, IKF came up and got a 2-run single. That's what we like to see. IKF, we already know what type of hitter he is. He is just a contact hitter. He puts the ball in play, and when you put the ball in play, sometimes it finds holes and good things happen. So IKF, appreciate what he did yesterday. If you go further, Kyle Higashioka, he's still struggling. Hasn't had a home run this year, and his batting average is well below 150. So, Higgy, I hate to do it to you, man, but it looks like you're going to be the odd man out when it comes to this catching position. Marwin Gonzalez had another hit, left field. Marwin is one of those players that he could play every position. On the bottom of and that rally that the Yankees had, Marwin Gonzalez was a key contributor to it. So I like what we're getting out of Marwin Gonzalez this year. When you look over to the pitching side of things, Jordan Montgomery yesterday, he got some run support early. That's one thing about the Yankees. They're allergic to scoring runs whenever Jordan Montgomery is on a mound. But Jordan Montgomery, he had a decent outing yesterday. Let me see. Closers have to be strikeout artists. Lukic has only 13 strikeouts of the year. Yeah. Lucas Luki he's not a strikeout, he's not a strikeout pitcher. And that was the issue yesterday. I know you're on the road, right? And the rule in baseball is if you're on the road, you save your closer for your half of the inning. But when you have an injury from Green, when you have a game that's going on like it's going on, Castro struggled. Loiziga, for some reason, he only pitched the third of an inning. I know he gave up 2 walks and he looked skittish out there. Wandy Peralta was phenomenal with the 2 innings he pitched. But you had other arms in that bullpen you could have went to besides Lucas. But you went to Lukey. Now, I understand he's been phenomenal for us last year and so far this year early in the season, but he's a specialist pitcher. You're supposed to bring him in the 6th inning, in the 7th inning. If you have a jam in the 5th inning that the starter can't get you out of, that's who you bring in. You don't bring him in the 9th inning to try to extend the game to extra innings. I don't get the logic when it comes to that. And that's another head scratcher from Aaron Boone. But Aaron Boone, 30 we only had 10 losses this year, 9 straight series win. Everybody wants to point to Boone whenever there's a loss. So I'm going to avoid that and I'm going to step away from that. Aaron Boone is a reason why, or one of the reasons why we are where we are when it comes to this record. So I'm not going to beat up on Aaron Boone. I'm not going to be one of those guys to do it. But what you saw yesterday from this bullpen, it's not what you normally see from this Yankee bullpen. So they always like to say 162 games, your bullpen will have its hiccups here and there. Against the Orioles, I'll take those hiccups. I don't want to see those hiccups against Tampa Bay. I don't want to see those hiccups against the Mets. I don't want to see those hiccups against the Astros, the Angels, or any of the top teams that are in baseball. So if it's happening to the Orioles, one hiccup here, one hiccup there, I can live with that, and I'll be good with that. But overall, it wasn't what we would call a Yankee game yesterday. It was sloppy defensively. The bullpen was sloppy. Outs on the base path. It's just overall wasn't a good look. And I understand in that first inning when Giancarlo Stanton hit that ball, he thought it was going out, but you need to run out the box. You should have been at second base off of that hit, Big G. Besides that, I have no quarrels. I have no issues with you, Big G. On to the next one. To the Orioles now. Now, if you see the Orioles didn't have that, Anthony Santander, I don't know how many times Anthony Santander has home run against us this year. I need to look up those stats, but Anthony Santander is starting to look like David Ortiz whenever he faces the Yankees. But Austin Hayes let it off yesterday against the Orioles. For the Orioles, he was left fielder, 0 for 4. Urias, he had a half a day off, DH spot. Urias is a solid infielder. He plays sometimes shortstop, some third base, some second base. Overall, a solid player. He was 0 for 4 yesterday. Hold on one. Sorry, my dog was acting up. But yeah, Urias, 0 for 4 yesterday. Trey Mancini, first baseman, was 2 for 5. Aforementioned Anthony Santander, aka Baby David Ortiz, was 3 for 4 against us yesterday. Jorge Mateo had that solid single up the middle that scored the run that was literally right in front of Aaron Hicks, and Aaron Hicks could have dove for it. But hey, he's probably nursing a calf injury. But Nevin, right after, Mateo was 2 for 4. Ronnie Chirinos was 1 for 4 yesterday. I love Chirinos. He's one of those catchers that, even though he's never been a full-time starter all the time, never been an all-star, he's just one of those guys that you love to root for. McKenna last night, the center fielder, was 1 for 2. Owens, the second baseman, was 0 for 2. Both McKenna and Owens was pitch hit later on in the game. Rugi Odor came in for Owens. Mullins came in for McKenna, and Mullins was the one who got that, out against Big G in the top of the ninth. But overall, the game yesterday, if you look at it, especially when you look at, the umpiring, the umpires, you got to clean it up. I can't wait for MLB to introduce the robo umpires. I can't wait. That's something that I can't wait for. It needs to happen. I'm sorry. You can have the umpire behind the catcher, just to call it, just so you can have those old school aesthetics, cool. But from what we're seeing right now from these umpires, don't like it. And it starts with Angel Hernandez. Angel Hernandez is one of the worst that are out there. There's like you could literally watch film of Angel Hernandez on YouTube of how not to be an MLB umpire. Don't like to, like I said, don't like to come at people for their jobs. I know you're just trying to do your job, and it's a human element. You can't be perfect 100 times, but at the same time, if you can't be perfect and you're not perfect, hold yourself accountable. Allow a owner, a manager, a major league manager, to let him get off his frustration. Allow these hitters to get off their frustration against you. You got to be able to take it. If you're going to have that much of an attitude, if someone's calling you out because you're doing your job bad, maybe it's time to look for another job, especially right after it happens. They're able to go into the dugout and they have the technology to see that you were wrong. You were 100% wrong. It's like a neighbor of mine, I go outside to smoke. Someone in the building decide that they're going to come up to me and tell me, do not smoke outside. I'm like, this is New York City public sidewalk. I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do on the New York City public sidewalk. But hey, I'm not trying to get too deep into that. But we are going to take our trip around the league. Oh, I got to work right here. Robots are coming for all of our jobs anyway. Absolutely. I'm lucky that, I was able to go to school for a trade and become an electrician, but in 50 years, there will be a R2D2 doing the type of job that I do. So yeah, the robots are coming. Be scary about that. The robots are coming. That needs to be an NFT. Somebody needs to make that an NFT. But let's take our trip around the league. Let's check out what's going on in the rest of Major League Baseball. In the AL East, the Yankees are still top dogs, 28-10. Yes, we lost yesterday. The Tampa Bay Rays were off, but they were able to pick up half a game. They're just 5 games behind us. The Toronto Blue Jays are 20-18. They're 8 games behind us. So we still have a nice little comfy cushion between ourselves and the rest of the teams in our division. Now on to the AL Central. Coach Richie, I know you're not here, so I won't even bring up the Tigers. I'm sorry. But you got the Minnesota Twins, 22-16. Chicago White Sox, who we face tonight, 19-19. The Cleveland Guardians, 16-19. So the AL Central is the AL Central. Now on to the AL West, to the West Coast. You got a nice dogfight that's happening at the top of that division between the Astros and the Angels. The Astros are 25-14, and the Angels are 24-16. So just a game and a half separates those two teams. And like I've been saying, since we've started the Yankees Morning Brew, that battle out there in the AL West is one that I'm going to keep my eye on. I love what I'm seeing out of the Los Angeles Angels this year. I want to see Mike Trout in the postseason. I want to see Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. Do I want them having their postseason moments against my New York Yankees? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's going to be great for baseball if you have the 2 best players in baseball. And yes, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani is the 2 best players in baseball. You can flip-flop them. One is A++, and the other one A+++. However you want to put it. Both those players are the 2 best players in baseball, and they need to be in the postseason in order for baseball to thrive, in order for baseball to get that audience, in order for baseball to appeal to the young players. You need to see Shohei Ohtani pitching and hitting in the playoffs. You need to see Mike Trout hitting homers and stealing bases in the playoffs so you can get people into it and wanting to watch the sport. Now on to the National League. The senior circuit, as they call it. You got the New York Mets with the 2nd best record in baseball. The New York Mets are 26-14, and they're sitting happy on top of that NL East. They are 7 games above the Phillies, 7.5 games above Miami. They are 8 games above the Atlanta Braves, and they're 12.5 games above the Washington Nationals. So with the Nationals being 13-26, yeah, I could see why they're going to hit that reset button, that big red button that the Acme building has, the reset button. You have to do it. Let me see. I'm convicted. Ohtani was created in a lab. Yeah, absolutely. They took some DNA from every major league player. It's like the good Space Jam movie. We're not going to talk about the bad Space Jam movie. The good Space Jam movie. That's what happened. They sent the good Space Jam movie monsters throughout the timeline in history to get different bits and pieces from different major league players, different DNA, so they could put it all together and created Ohtani like that. Yeah, I'm convinced in that as well. Ohtani, he's not natural. He's really not. His speed, he could run with the best of them. He can hit with the best of them, and he could pitch with the best of them. So Ohtani was definitely created in the lab somewhere. But now on to the NL Central with one of the surprising teams, one of the best teams in baseball, in my opinion, the Milwaukee Brewers. Do the Milwaukee Brewers have a chance to make it to the NLCS? Absolutely. Do they have a chance to make it to the World Series? Absolutely. But you got the Milwaukee Brewers 24-14. The St. Louis Cardinals are behind them at 20-18. Besides that, every other team in that division is under 500. So the Milwaukee Brewers have a 4-game lead against the St. Louis, 7.5 up on the Pirates, 8.5 up on the Cubbies, and 12.5 up on the Cincinnati Reds. So the Reds and the Washington Nationals are in the same scenario. Both teams need to hit that reset button. It's already here, AJ. Yeah. There's already robot fry cooks. Have you guys seen those TikTok commercials where they got the robo fry cooks and burger flippers? It's crazy. Technology is crazy. But on to the NL West, and one of the best divisions in baseball. I can say that hands down. You got the Dodgers, who are in first place at 25-12 with the third best record in baseball. Then you got the San Diego Padres 24-14, and then the San Francisco Giants at 22-5. The Rockies are 18-19, and the Diamondbacks are 19-21. Now, when it comes to the San Diego Padres, right? San Diego Padres, they have at the major league level some talent and in the minors. But the issue with the Juan Soto deal, if the Padres were to trade for Juan Soto, they will have to include some of that major league talent. And is that going to be good or bad for the team? When it comes to team chemistry, how good is that team going to be if they gut the entire minor league system, some of the major league talent in order to get Juan Soto? That's why when you look at the Yankees and the Blue Jays, those are the perfect two landing spots. Because from the Yankees' perspective, they'll gut the minor leagues without touching the major league talent. You may have to flip Joey Gallo and an additional deal just to get him out of here, but it won't mess up that chemistry that much. You're just bringing in a guy to add him to the team. You're not taking away from that roster, from that clubhouse. And if you look at that Yankees roster and you look at that clubhouse, how they've been, it seems like chemistry-wise, it seems like they're in good shape. It seems like Donaldson has been a great fit. Rizzo has been a great fit. Judge becoming best friends with both Rizzo and Donaldson out of nowhere. Stanton is able to be Stanton, and just he looks the healthiest and the happiest he's been ever since he's been to New York. So there's a lot of going on. He said that NL West is no joke. Yeah, it really is no joke. When you got the three top teams well over 500, and then when you look at the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, the Rockies are just one game under 500, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are just 2 games under 500. So it's not like it's a big drop off like you see with the Cincinnati Reds or the Washington Nationals for the bottom half of that division. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks, they're a good team, and they could play spoiler real well. So that NL West is going to be a tough fight for the rest of the year, but it's going to be interesting at the same time. I would love to see the Arizona Diamondbacks part ways with Ketel Marte, and Ketel Marte is our center fielder for the future. He's a switch hitter. He has speed. He has power. So I would love to see Ketel Marte as a Yankee, but I can't be picky and I can't be greedy. I can't have both Juan Soto and Ketel Marte. That's just too much. That'd be overkill for the Yankees. But But guys, we're coming up on that time. It is 11:50. I love everybody who was here today tuning in with us. I'm going to just go through the chat real quick. Smoke a lot of potamus. I'm about to do that right now. Should the Yankees offer Devers or Bogarts a contract this offseason? Well, we know that the Red Sox are going to trade Xander Bogaerts. We already know that. Rafael Devers, I'm not sure. I love Rafael Devers for the fact that he's a left-handed hitter, but his defense is shaky. Rafael Devers is a left-handed version of Miguel Andujar. Miguel Andujar was super sloppy and shaky when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, and that's what Rafael Devers is. I like what we have when it comes to LeMahieu and Donaldson right there, but for the future, I'm not too sure. Do I want the Yankees to go out there and prioritize left-handed hitters? Absolutely. Absolutely. So it all depends on our shortstop situation, right? If we go into the future and we decide we're going to unload these prospects for Juan Soto, then we're going to need a shortstop, right? Because IKF, as good as he is, he was supposed to be just a stopgap until Anthony Volpe comes up. That's what IKF was. So if we move off of Anthony Volpe in order to bring Juan Soto, we're going to have to try to shore up our shortstop position. So however that is. But we will see. Would I want Devers at third base with IKF as a shortstop? Yes, because I think IKF has the range to cover up the mistakes from a Rafael Devers. Do I want Rafael Devers with Gleyber Torres as a shortstop? Absolutely no. Absolutely. Hell no. No way, Jose. But guys, like I said, I'm going to go through this. Keith as well. Thanks for coming through, bro. Agents. I know you're a Rocky fan. We got to get that Rocky talks in. You know, anytime you want to come on the panel, you're more than welcome to. Of course, Jigga Man Portal, my man Pots and Pans. Jigga Man will probably be joining us next week. Last second thing he had to handle. So maybe next week he'll be joining us. My bro, my uncle, Stephen Fox. Salute to you, Foxy. And of course, Coach Richie. Let's go Tigers. Got to have the Tigers love in there. Appreciate everybody for coming in. Appreciate everybody. DSJ on the Instagram chat, appreciate you. My guy Jamie, appreciate you as well. Super Fantasy Podcast, appreciate you as well. And everybody else that's I didn't get to in the Instagram tank. Thanks, my fellow Knights. Thank you, Yankees Universe. And you degenerates. It's 12 in the afternoon. Wake up and smell the coffee. I'm out. Peace.